Hello, everybody, and welcome to Eberron. Reap What You Sow. I think it's session 11. Yeah, I think it's session 11.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, Silver Flame.
You called it Into the Depths.
By the
Don't worry.
name of the Silver Flame, that is way too many sessions. Let's cancel the campaign. Move on. I feel like my camera is still off, even though I've been fiddling with it. Like, can I?
You know what
can I
is off?
be in
Your
frame?
hair.
Oh, dude.
So cooped up.
Like literally
Got 'em.
right before stream, my wife was in the room, like trying to pet my hair down because it was sticking up because I just took a shower not that long ago, and they were laughing at me. Yeah, what wives? They love us. All right, so, last session, Will wasn't here, which I feel bad about because Luca died.
Luca didn't die. He was the
Rip
unsung
Luca.
hero of the time that I wasn't here.
Obviously, you guys, last session, finally made your way to the port. So you had lots of fun seafaring adventures and storms and whatnot. You finally made your way to the port, which is good news. At the port, you were able to meet some very nice people. One in particular person was very happy to meet you and offered you lots of gold, 2,000 gold pieces each, and a sack of things. To go on an adventure to try to find some peoples that went disappearing between, there and here. It's pretty fun because Luca wasn't there, so Luca actually did not come along for that conversation. He was still trying to get his bearings from being on the ship for so long. It was just one of those like, oh, I am not as good as my brother, even though I try to be. So we're actually the conversation ended with you guys leaving that person from House Cannith and coming over to gather Luca. Luca, you on the other hand were back on the ship once again trying to get your bearings before you left. On the ship, like you heard about the mission, you heard about the offering and whatnot that was going on over there. But you had not gone into it yet, right? So anyways, you are you're there having a conversation with whoever you like. I assume N?
I'm randomly on the ship and no one else is around.
Yeah.
Like my party's not around?
And we were saying specifically, sorry, last session, I know you watched it, but just as a reminder, because when you watch it versus when you experience, it's a little different memory. You poignantly avoided N, and N poignantly avoided you. You guys spent a good amount of time walking around each other as opposed to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. If we avoided each other, I mean, I think it would continue. No, like if we haven't talked since we've been avoiding each other.
Mm-hmm.
Why stop a good thing?
Yeah. So I'd be talking to like the cook or something.
Okay, well, I know you get along with that halfling very, 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 very well.
Yeah.
Well, then, at one point in time, before you did leave, N is actually going to come up to you. And,
okay.
Yeah, because if you don't go to N, N's going to come up to you and be like, still in the female form, Luca, could I have a word with you?
Sure. And he'll like eat the last little bit of something that the chef was having him try and walk off with N, assuming that she wants to walk away.
She would. Heading over towards, like, walking across through the under deck where you are, all the way to the top deck, and then moving slowly towards, like, the room that she's claimed as Zers. And it's so weird using this gender neutral term for the changeling.
Wait, is she not staying with Stalbor and I anymore? Because we were all in the same room.
No, because you guys don't have the hobgoblins there anymore.
We actually realized that despite
We never
actually left.
She would definitely go back to her own because she
So
needs
it's
her
just
space with
Stalbor
all of her
here in
equipment and
the
everything,
same
right?
room.
So as she's walking with you, starting from down below and making your way there from the
Bigger
kitchens,
room anyway.
she'd be like, when I play these roles, when I get into these different forms, part of what I have to do is completely get myself into the character that I'm playing. I need to think the way that they think, act the way that they act. I need to effectively be them. I have to convince myself that I'm them to convince others that no matter how close or distant they are to that person, they believe I am that person. You understand this, right?
Kind of hesitantly, he replies like, "Yeah."
Well, I'm gonna fix it. I think you guys' volume is a little low, so I'm gonna fix that. Everybody let me know if that's the case.
Do you just need me to be loud?
No, I got it. So she says, well, for me to get into that mindset, I need to be able to do the things that they can do. And frankly, I can't always do that. People have this misnomer about changelings that when we transform to the different forms, we are able to pick up all of the different abilities of those that we look like. But in fact, for the most part, we just look like them. So I have to come across other means to pull it off. There was an in particular thing that I used when I portrayed your brother. And I think as a bit of an apology for all of the torment I put you through, playing that role, being that character, not able to ever break it, no matter how much pain it brought to you. Someone who is a dear friend of Kieran's and so should mean something to me. May I give you a gift, or at least lend you something, because should I ever take upon the form of Nico again, I would need it back.
He'll kind of like, he's staring kind of blankly, and then he'll nod like, yeah. What were you thinking?
Here, come with me. And G opens the door to your room and goes over to an in particular chest. It's actually the one that you had helped bring down here from House Beneath before. And in unlocking the chest with a very specific key and opening it up, you can see your brother's armor inside there. You can see his sword is inside there. You see so much equipment is in there, including various heirlooms of your family. Heirlooms that belong to your parents, that were passed on to your brother at points in time throughout like his life, younger and older and whatnot. He has a whole bunch of things in there that literally are just your family's relics, right? So anyways, G goes in there and searches through for a second and pulls out this old belt. This belt is very, very strange looking. It is large, it's thick. It has like very crude looking leather is what it's made out of. There's even little tufts of like hair, it seems, comes out of it and whatnot. It is a very, very strange looking belt. As a matter of fact, there's even a seal that's on the very center of the belt. A seal that you think you may have seen before at some point in time. Could you do me a favor, with your advantage, because of your build, could you roll me a history check?
Yes, I can.
With your 12, unfortunately, it's right on the tip of your tongue, and you feel like you should know what it is, but you can't quite recall what this belt's meaning is, or that crest on the belt's meaning is. However, it is a large, heavy-looking belt that clearly it's almost like a WWE wrestler's belt, where it definitely has like two thick metal buckles to make sure they can actually hold on to you around your midsection and waist. And she holds it up to you, and it's clearly heavy, and says, "This was one of the things that I had to use to successfully play the role of Nico, and I think it's appropriate that at least for now you wear it in my stead, since you are his twin brother."
He'll nod to that and kind of take it and throw it over his shoulder, and he'll kind of be like, for the first time, like really level-headed with N, and kind of like, I really do appreciate this gesture. I really do. It's brought up some questions, but honestly, we don't even need to talk about those now. I'm happy that you've decided to do this.
No, you're welcome. I understand you were trying to ease your stomach from the seasickness. Can I tell you something else too? There's an old remedy to help you with this moving forward. This one's a bit more mundane than the gift I had just given you. It's an old sailor's trick for those that are very familiar with the sea. Here, let me get you this. And goes over to another chest and opens it up and reaches in, and you can't really see inside very much. You're welcome to take a perception check if you're being curious. If you're not,
after seeing the relics, I'd probably actually be curious.
sure, roll me a regular perception.
Yep.
It's gonna be against their sleight of hand. Oh, that's
Not
good
bad.
enough that I actually have to roll. Like, I didn't think I would have to roll, but you rolled high enough that I'm like, nope, I actually have to roll this. I got a 17, so you actually see. You glance into the chest, and you actually see what's inside there is a whole bunch of like loose garb, loose pants, loose shirts, a bunch of different knotted clothes. There's a strange, almost salty smell coming in from inside there. But more than that, there's a musty smell coming inside there, like it hasn't been opened in a very, very long time. Anyways, she reaches in very quickly, grabs something, and pulls it out and hands it to you. And it's actually a leather bracelet. And she says, you could put this on your dominant hands, but both of your wrists would work better. It just simply applies pressure into a part of your body that will alleviate the sickness that you get from the tossing of the sea. It's a comfort thing.
He'll nod to that and he'll accept it, and he'd probably say something like, well, this could possibly work, or maybe getting a captain that's not so reckless, kind of like half jokingly, half completely serious.
She will chuckle to that too, a light chuckle, but then almost offensively says, I think her recklessness might be what we need.
You'd know better than I.
I hope I'm wrong.
He nods to that and says, well, it seems as though I have some work cut out for me, so I think I should go prepare.
Yes, it takes some time to understand the ins and outs of this belt, of how the magics work with your body. I suggest you sit and get familiar with it.
He nods to that and says, that's precisely what I should do.
Okay, so you can sit there and take a short rest to attune to the item, and the party's actually going to come and interrupt at the tail end of your short rest. Like about 45 minutes later, they can make their way into the ship, and you guys are going to look for Luca. Luca, where are you hiding?
I'm probably in... So wait, the hobgoblins are gone, and me and Reich now have our own rooms?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm in my room.
Okay, so when you guys come onto the ship, he's there. Does everybody go all together to go find him? And does anybody in particular go?
We'd all be together. We're about to go on an adventure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an adventure
So everybody's like,
time.
it's adventure hype. Adventure hype!
We're ready.
Okay.
This is our first proper adventure,
He's
Scott.
the one letting us down right now.
I said proper. I said proper.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, Scott. There's actually a scene I wanted to have with Luca, like, before if we could, like, go back in time and, like, have it really quick, because he wasn't here before.
Worst
It
joke.
would just be, like, conversation we had, like, on the ship at some point. And I just would have walked up to Luca and go, So, Luca, have you talked to your parents recently?
I've sent word to my mother, but haven't had a conversation, no.
Well, do you think that you should? Or maybe stop by and see them at some point?
Yes, I do. However, priorities are priorities, and I do plan to keep the letters flowing.
Right, but they just found out that their, eldest son is presumably dead and has been replaced by a changeling.
Yes.
Do you not want to reach out to them maybe? Or we're going north anyways. Is that something you want to do?
It's a possibility. I think I need the time to think this decision over. I don't want to interrupt anyone's grieving processes.
Oh, okay. That seems a little weird to me, but
It can
turned
be.
out that he's
Everyone
cold,
grieves differently.
All right, well,
think-
you do you.
You think seeing the face of her possibly dead son might,
I think seeing the face of her definitely living son, might help. Yeah.
It's borderline.
All right. Well,
I appreciate the offer, and I really do, but I'd have to think that over. I can't give you a defined answer yet.
all right. Well, it stands.
So, Back to the Future. It is,
Part 2.
oh god. No tangents. So you guys go knocking on his door. I imagine it's either Kieran rapping on the door because she is very forward, or Stahlborg because that's his best friend. Rip Reich.
Hey, we were roommates.
But now
Yeah,
I'm roommates with
bunk beds.
Kieran, so how does that work?
We had bunk beds.
Ah,
man.
There's,
then
there's
I
an
guess
open
it-
room.
so
Yeah.
much room for activity.
No one's told Stalboard the room's free, so he's just still there.
Stalber's 20 intelligence and really high perception is not enough to realize that nobody's using that room anymore.
Scott, Stalboard
There's
hasn't
actually
been
2
sober
less
the
people on the
entire
ship
journey.
than when you originally left.
He has not stopped drinking.
Fair, fair.
Collective hangover's gonna kill him. He's not got constitution enough for that.
All right, who's knocking on his door? Come on, knock, knock,
I
knock.
guess Stalboard,
I will-
knock up.
Okay, Luca.
Luca, are you ready? We're going on an adventure. You were meant to meet us like an hour ago.
I'll open the door.
I'll oversee this transgression this once.
Gonna have to give me 15 minutes just to prepare.
You have such short lives, and yet you wasted all just preparing for things. Fine. Sure, I can find some grog or something.
Yeah, he'll actually like go through his stuff and grab like some bottle of like a flask or something. Like here, yeah. There you go.
Kieran, Luca's gonna be late. Just like yell through the deck. And I imagine I
Okay.
wait. And then
15
like
minutes
probably
later?
like 10 minutes.
That's
no,
okay,
probably,
because
like,
we need
10
to go get like fresh bread anyway.
Luca,
Yeah.
15 minutes
Journey.
later, you go to get yourself ready. You do feel different. You feel changed in some way, but it's hard to put your finger on it. You go and you get your stuff and you strap on your sword and everything like that, and you go over to the door and you grab it and you open it pretty hard. When you go to shut the door behind you, you know what I mean? Luca's a very well-practiced person. You know what I mean? He actually is very dedicated. He's a decent ranked person, a member of House Beneath, has a very strong, stringent schedule that he sticks to for the most part, blah, 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 blah. But when you slam that door, it's like a really loud boom, like as though you were just really upset and just everybody's like, holy shit, is that boom? And the door doesn't crack or anything, but you actually had to look back and see if the door was cracked. You were kind of in your own mind. I guess maybe you were just upset at the moment.
Could you maybe not break the ship, Luca?
She yells down the hallway.
Yeah,
I,
Luca,
like,
just control your problems with alcohol like a normal person.
He like very like surprised. Anyone who could see him, very surprised look on his. Yeah, okay. And he like looks down at the belt, keeps walking.
Okay. So as you're walking and whatnot, and making your way to go do things, it's again as you interact with other items and whatnot. As you like go to like maybe shake somebody's hand, you notice that every part of you is so much stronger. Actually, when everybody else looks at you, they literally see you look better forms than you did before. Your arms look slightly larger. Your back is standing straighter. Every part of you just seems so much more put together. Starboard doesn't because, you know, he's a drunk elf. He's Dobby right now. He's Dobby on some serious, what is that, buttermilk or whatever it is that they drink to get drunk?
Buttermilk?
What was that alcohol that they all drank?
In Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Butterbeer.
Butterbeer.
There you go, butterbeer.
Wrong with you?
I don't have enough hands to facepalm hard enough, Scott. Jesus Christ.
Whatever.
Buttermilk.
Listen, I actually googled the recipe for like, because what's her face actually said this is the closest thing to butterbeer you're gonna get, and had a recipe, and I used to like actually make it, and it was pretty decent. It included like Mick Ultra.
It's butter and beer.
No,
No tangents.
no. She actually had a recipe that included 3 things, and the first ingredient was Mick Ultra.
No tangents.
No tangents. So, you guys notice that he is far better formed and everything. Will, from a mechanical perspective, you currently have a 21 strength.
Ooh. Okay.
Whew. That's a good strike.
Make
That's
sure
a
you
good strike right there.
note what your strength was in case you ever have to revert it.
Correct.
Yeah.
That
Like
is...
if something should unfortunate happen to that belt of yours.
I want to meet like a bunch of Eberron goblins that are just like a mafia. I think that would be great. Just in Shan. Next time we go back.
So now you guys are all set and can. So does anybody make note of the fact that he looks all like meaty?
I would actually, I would go over and just like a friendly like, punch to the chest and be like, "Well, it looks like you've been working out." My eyes droop very obviously to the belt that is new in his.
Lucas will be like, well, now that we have this space to have separate rooms, I've been spending all those nights. Wait, what did you think those noises were?
I know what those noises were, Luca. We used to live together.
Okay. And now you guys are at the gates. Do you care to fill Luca in on any pertinent information, or are you just happy to keep moving?
Does Luca ask?
Yeah, I would ask for the specifics.
Like, yeah, we're going on an adventure. Here are the details. Here's the money we're getting paid for it.
Yeah. Long story short, there's some people lost in the woods. We're gonna try to save them.
Some people
And
need
get
our
the
help.
research.
The research is only part of the deal. The people are the more important parts.
I think they've slipped between the cracks of realms. I think they've gone and fallen somewhere, and I'm very excited about that concept.
I feel as though that's a little bit of a leap. More likely they were killed by some of the local fauna, or preferably they were driven somewhere to their safety.
Or dinosaurs. That's a thing.
Right. I'm trying to make
Oh,
this
sure, I'm sure
adventure
it was the fauna.
interesting so that I don't cut my own throat on your shiny sword.
I'm sorry.
So please give me this.
Is the fact that there might be dinosaurs here not interesting enough for you? Perhaps.
You haven't seen dinosaurs before?
No.
Well, my great aunt had a pet velociraptor.
Really?
Insight. I'm inciting that.
Not decide if that's true, I guess.
Just.
Was your great aunt somebody that spent much time with traders from? I mean, your great aunt. I suppose maybe she could have technically gotten it before, the war and before everything else on the. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Okay, so
Yeah,
I guess
it's one of those. Technically, yeah, I guess that could be a thing.
Yeah! I'm fucking telling the truth, boys. I've seen a velociraptor before. I fed it from my own hand. Raises him, she does.
Another one of Stalbor's tall tales.
I don't know what a velociraptor is.
I look at you strangely and I'm like, this velociraptor is a flying beast?
If they're really hungry.
No, I think it's one of the really big ones.
You are all so beneath me.
Wow.
No more.
I just look affronted for a moment. Just like for the first time ever, right? Just looks like completely taken aback, just like, what?
I'm gonna let this slide, because you're drunk.
I shake
And
my
I
head.
respect that.
Well, let us go. I think we'll do a lot better when we're killing something.
So you guys make your way to the gates as we had discussed beforehand, and when the gates open up, as I had said, we're talking literally right outside the gates is where the woods begin, immediately outside of the city walls. They must have had to cut down trees to even build these walls as far back as they did. But that doesn't mean there's not a path cutting through the woods. There is. It's a path and it's well traveled, but it's not like what you would see over in Corvair, like the other parts of Corvair, where it's like a well cemented road, heading out of this part of the city. I will tell you that if you go out one of the other gates, the gate that heads back towards the other port city, that's a little bit to the south of where you are, and east of where you are, there would be a better suited road. But from here, you're heading into the wilderness. Outside of here, you know that occasionally there's a small village and whatnot, but those villages aren't exactly under the protection of the city in the sense that they are always standing guard and da-da-da-da-da. But, if there's a big problem, obviously the city will send soldiers to it, right? Yay. Okay, so you guys are heading out and into those woods trying to find out where it is that you need to go. As he had said, they're not allowed to have maps of the woods, so instead he gave you guys coordinates. Now, luckily for you, you have a genius level elf that can easily map out those coordinates, right? Because he's super perceptive of everything that's going on with he's drunk. So we'll see how useful he really is.